Alright, we're working on this 2016 Nissan Altima. We're going to be replacing the passenger side CV axle over here. And here we have our replacement. We'll go ahead and take it out and take a look at it here. Right, so here's our brand new passenger side CV axle. Comes with a little castle locking nut and the cotter pin, and we also got a new axle nut there. Alright, let's go over the tools we're going to be using here. Pretty much must have jack and a jack stand, 3-foot crowbar, shot filled mallet, big sledge, this is an 8-pound, pry bar, maybe small pry bar. I've got some spreader pliers, you don't have to have those, needle nose. Sockets, we're using a 13mm, 32 for the axle, 21 for the lugs, and we got an 18 and a 19 here that we need to use. I've got an 18mm wrench there, breaker bar or an extended ratchet, foot-pound torque wrench. Got a short 3-inch extension here. Got a long 2-foot extension. This is a 3/8 extension. Just got an adapter on it. Small piece of chain. You don't need one this big, but a little bit of length of chain and a bolt and nut. Absolutely, you must have a torch, some means of heating up this where the bearing sets to be able to remove that. I'll talk about that in a little bit. Some medium Loctite, some white lithium grease. You want to go ahead and shock your rear tire. Right, we're going to go ahead and take care of the cotter pin here and get our castle locking nut off. Okay, we're going to break our 32mm axle nut loose. You're going to want a extended handle ratchet or a breaker bar. Alright, we need to see if this is going to move freely. And I mentioned this in my other video, if you have the alloy wheels, you're going to have to punch the little center cap out, and most likely you'll have to take the wheel on and off if you need to get clearance in here to get to the cotter pin and everything. So we're just going to go ahead and break these 21s loose. That's good enough. Just to show you where we're lifting it from here. I can go ahead and finish removing the lugs. We're going to free up slack here for the brake line. We're just going to pop this ABS wire out. Just give us a little bit of extra slack. We're going to focus on the tie rod now. And I mentioned this in the other video as well. These cotter pins come factory. They're very tight on the tie rod, so you want to cut it and just get it out of there and replace it. They are not worth fighting with. This has been replaced. We're going to take our 19, get this loose. Now we're just going to run it right down here flush, where this is flush with the end of the bolt. Just like so. Alright, I'm going to use the 8-pound sledge. We're going to hit it right here on the end. And it takes a little doing. And that's why you want to use a big sledge. You will never get it tapping around on it with a smaller hammer. We're going to work on the pinch bolt here. We need to hold, this is the bolt head side over here by where the tie rod. We're going to hold it with this one, and we're going to take another 18 and come over here. Alright, we'll just finish getting this loose. This 18 millimeter is sometimes not easy to push through and you need to use a punch. You could also come in here with a pry bar and take tension off of this, and sometimes it'll slide through easily. Okay, while we're down here, we're going to take a little piece of chain, and I've got a bolt and a nut. We're going to run it through here. Nice, and make a nice tight area to get the crowbar. Okay, so you see how I've got that run through there. It's running over underneath the subframe over here. Just to back up and give you another look at it here. And what I'll do is I'll get up here and stand on this. It's just easier than trying to push it down. It's under a lot of tension. Now I want you to note the CV axle. I could move this. Alright, I want to get over here and stand on this. Like I'm almost there. We go. Now if these have not been removed, you'll want to spray them with WD-40. You also want to come back behind here with a pry bar and kind of pry that little joint a little bit, and you may have to even hit this with your rubber mallet. You just do what you got to do to get it down out of there. Sometimes it'll get in a bind. Alright, I'm just going to take you in here and show you this. Okay, you're looking at a collar that's going around the CV axle there, the bearing holding that, and that's the upper one, upper bolt, 13 millimeter. Come over here to the left side, you can see the lower one there. So we're going to go in with an extension and get those. So I've got this like 2-foot extension here. Okay, I want to talk about this bracket right here a minute, where this CV axle goes into that you're looking at right here. Now these are always seized, and I mean always. Every one I've ever removed is seized. I think they glue them in there, but if you've not had this out, this is going to be very difficult to remove, and the only way you can do it is with a torch by heating it up. But I've never tried to remove it in the car. I'm not saying you couldn't get it out of there by heating it up, but usually what I wind up doing is taking that bracket off, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Okay, so what you're looking at there is, get something I can point with. Looking at this is a 18, I do believe, don't quote me on that. This bracket right here is 118 down here on the bottom. Now, so what I usually do is wind up taking that out. Okay, now we're looking at the top. There's a couple of 16s up here, and this bracket has a pin that locates it. So if this is stuck in here, this is how I would remove it. I would take those out, and that 18 on the bottom. Now coincidentally, this oil cooler here is in the way, so you have to have a drip pan and take those tins all out of that and pull it back out of the way, and then you'll just simply refasten it and make sure the seals are back in their place after you pull this out. But with that out of the way and those bolts out of this bracket, you're able to basically pull this whole thing out. And that is how I do it, and it seems to be the easiest way. And then you take it out, stand it up, heat this up, and you got to get it hot. I mean really, really hot, to where you can spray WD-40 and it's pretty much boiling it off of there. And then you're able to just knock this bracket off here. I've done a few of these. I wish I would have just made a video on it, but I was doing the engines and I just didn't take the time to do it, but I wish I had them. So I just want to explain that. And like I said, if you're up north, you may even want to just buy another bracket and be done with it. So like I said, this is what I'll use, and you really have to just heat around that bearing and that bracket, that aluminum, get it hot. And it's said, I believe that they glue them in there. I wish somebody that works for Nissan would let me know, but I'm pretty sure they use glue, because the stuff I've scraped out of there, it seems like a glue and not really rust and corrosion, but I could be wrong. So anyways, I just wanted to cover that because it's very important. It's going to be the most difficult part of this job, and it's no way going to slide out of here as easily as mine's going to, because I've had this out a couple of times at least, but it's supposed to slide out just like that. And if you watch up in there, you'll see where we're pulling it out of the transmission itself. Now I've got a pan under here, because you never know if any of this CVT fluid is going to come out. Now if you see This bracket here, you can tell that I've got a lot of grease on it, and that's why it's coming out of here. Because when I put this back together, it said I use grease. But you want to do that or use anise or something. Right, and I want you to listen to this. If you can hear that. Shouldn't have all that slack. Alright, so you want to go up in there and wipe your seal, make sure that it's clean. Clean paper towel. I'm going to wipe this right here as well. And I'll put some clean grease on it. So we're not taking any chance of this sticking again. Once you have to remove one, you'll see what I'm talking about. Right, I'm going to take some of this, make sure this end's clean. I'll put a little around that. You can use the CVT fluid. I just put this on here. As long as you have the fluid on the seal and it's not dry. But after you wipe the dirt, it could be dry, so you want to either put some CVT fluid or some of this will work. Alright, let's go ahead and get this in the car. And I'm putting medium Loctite. I'm going to torque these to 20 foot-pounds. So I got it pushed to that point. Okay, so if you don't get this lined up right, it's not going to want to go. So I didn't have this lined up good, so I had to get my chain back on here. And now I'm going to redo it. Usually I don't have this much trouble, but for whatever reason today, so until we get this going in right, it's going to struggle. It's just going to get in a bind. Okay, I don't know what I was doing wrong, but I took it completely down and redid it, and it just fell right in. And I was like thinking I had a problem here, but I didn't get it on camera. But if you run into the same problem, just pop it back loose and try to redo it, because it just pretty much fell in that time. Alright, I want to torque this to 72 foot-pounds. This calls for 25 foot-pounds. Our new axle nut, just run that down by hand for now. Now we're going to get the tire back on. I'm going to torque these to 85. Torque our 32 millimeter axle nut to 135. Alright, nothing left to do but take it for a test drive and see how it's sounding. Okay, so I've took it for a quick test drive down the road. Absolutely no clicking noises. Everything's sounding fine and working perfectly. Now, I can't guarantee that you won't disturb your alignment anytime you mess with it. That's potential to disturb it, but usually when you pop the ball joint out the bottom, it's minimal. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. Found it helpful. Please like, share, and subscribe, and thank you for watching.